I just fell in love with the theatre, absolutely passionately in love with it. I think the big thing that I've noticed with all of these people is that they had that fire in their belly.
Hello and welcome to the Theatre Art Life podcast, sponsored by Harlequin Floors, the world leader in floors, stage systems and studio equipment for the performing arts. Our podcast puts the spotlight on those who create live entertainment around the world, the cultural creators, the backstage masters. My name is Anna Robb.
And my name is NIDA. On this episode, Ariana Schneider joins us to talk about writing and recording a musical in Australia.
Ariana Schneider has been involved in music and theatre for many, many years. She ran a very successful singing and drama studio from which students were accepted into the prestigious institutions of Sydney Con, NIDA, WAPA, Victorian College of the Arts, and the Queensland Conservatorium. Ariana has also taught music and drama in many of the schools in her area, as well as writing a mini play and a musical for the students to perform. Currently, she is in the final stages of completing the recording process of a musical she wrote called Crystal Dreaming. Ariana wrote the script, lyrics, and music to its 22 songs and worked with a producer-arranger from a professional recording studio, Peter Stevenson, who created a fabulous orchestration. The musical was first performed in 2016 with a fully staged production in Ariana's hometown of Taree, in which 32 performers, including 14 children, took part. The whole town supported the project and they played to 3 full houses. A film was made of the production. Never having been fully satisfied with the script, Ariana used the lockdown time to take a course in playwriting with the Theatre Makers Studio in New York and also received dramaturgical support from Eric Webb. This support allowed her to do a rewrite of the original score and script. Ariana, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for agreeing to say yes.
Really nice to meet you. And
yes, same here.
So tell us a little bit, before we get onto your work and Crystal Dreaming and that, tell us a little bit about how you got into music and theatre generally.
Well, I was actually brought up in a musical family. My mother was a fabulous singer. She'd stand in the kitchen and clasp her little hands and sing her heart out. And music was part of our culture. So my sister and I learned piano from a very early age, and I performed for my extended family from the age of 3. I used to sing a song which is way before your time called the Anniversary Waltz. And I just started then from that point. We listened to all different genres of music too. Classical music was where we started, but folk music was very much a part of what we played on records in those days. And we went to concerts a lot. So I was really immersed in music from a very early age.
How is it when you decided to make it a professional thing?
Well, I decided to learn singing because I always sang and everyone told me what a lovely voice I had. And I sang in many shows at my school. And I really wanted to be a nurse, but my father wouldn't let me. So I thought, well, now I'll become a singer. So I started studying at the Conservatorium in Sydney. And then I thought, well, people are always saying what lousy actresses and actors opera singers are, because opera was where I really wanted to sing in. So I decided to study acting as well. So I joined the Independent Theatre North Sydney, which was quite a prestigious drama school. So I paralleled the two, learning acting and singing, and I just fell in love with the theatre, absolutely passionately in love with it.
I love that you were encouraged to not be a nurse and you did arts instead, because usually we hear people who
that's like
have
a
been
first.
told not to go into the arts, right? So,
yeah. Oh, don't worry, that wasn't taken very well either. The fact that I went into the arts.
Well, out of interest, why did your father not want you to be a nurse?
He was very protective, and he heard what the nurses got up to in their dorms, in their dormitories.
Oh. I'm worried about the education factor.
Oh, no.
Oh my goodness. And so you went into teaching and all of that. What was it propelled you to write Crystal Dreaming? And tell us a little bit about what that's about.
Well, the seed actually was sown a long time ago when I took my son and a friend of his to the cinema to what was classified as suitable for children, a film that was classified as suitable for children. And the imagery in that movie was so horrifying that both my son and his little friend stood up and they became absolutely petrified, that with their eyes glued to the screen, and they couldn't move. So I just felt compelled to take them out of the theatre. And I'm going to get on my soapbox now. My alarm bells have been ringing ever since with what is sometimes considered as children's entertainment, when violence seems to be part of a lot of what is considered children's entertainment. And also, let's face it, negative news is a way of life. So I really, really wanted to make a piece of theatre that was beautiful and uplifting. That's what compelled me to write a musical. And then luckily, I was drawn to read the Tell Us book series by really Louise Jones. And that's about the myth of Lemuria. So Lemuria, the story of Lemuria and the story of Atlanta are actually sort of parallel stories. I don't know if you know the story of Atlantis, but that's where it disappeared beneath the sea. And that same thing happened to Lemuria. The Lemurian civilization was a highly evolved civilization, and they were pre-warned. This is the story. They were pre-warned about what was going to happen and that they would be disappearing beneath the sea. So 25,000 citizens managed to survive that. And in order to save their beautiful way of life, they built a mystical crystal city that they called Telos, deep within a mountain. So when I read that, I just thought, this is, the story really spoke to me. And so depicting that way of life as a musical has become my passion really for a long, long time, quite a few years.
So you've mentioned before that the story, you wanted to do something suitable for children,
Yes.
and you took this story. Was there anything specific that you wanted to talk about that was going to make an impact or was going to help children in general?
I'm just going by the reaction of the children who actually were in the show, and they loved it. It's like, first of all, it's very fantastical. There are fairies, gnomes, elves, angels, and then these luminous beings from another realm. And the girl who is the main character in it, she's obsessed with crystals, and she's very different. She's because she plays with fairies, and because she hears angels singing, and because she just has this very vivid imagination, and she has a sense that she does have a destiny. Of course, in the beginning of the show, she's too young to know it. So I guess the whole message with Crystal Dreaming and with the name even is that, dare to dream, dare to follow your dreams, dare to be different. So they're the messages, because she wasn't given a very easy time by her family. So that's one of the issues that I've touched upon. Her father actually left in the play. Her father actually left because he just didn't understand her, and he just couldn't bear to be around how different she was, how quirky she was. And of course, the Mirabelle, who is the heroine, took that on board. And that's very much, I have actually had a psychologist come to see the show, and she said that, children who's come from broken families often blame themselves because they think that it's their fault that their parents split up. So that's another one of the issues that I've brought out in the musical.
I think it's really, it's so important that people or children see live entertainment and theatre and musicals. I agree in terms of the nature of enough media and entertainment that is quite violent these days, and especially not even on the back of something that people watch, but all of the video games and stuff that people play. And as a parent, you have to, actively work against that tide, I think. And that's providing opportunities in other realms for the kids to focus on is really good. And so when you wrote it and when you did perform it in Taree, and you said that people really enjoyed the show, did a lot of children and people get to come to that show? Was it a community show, and how was that received?
Yeah, the community, I had enormous community support for the whole production. And lots of children did come to see the show because there were 14 children in it. So, their families came, and I got a lot of wonderful publicity because I'm very well known in this area because of all the work I've done. So I got a lot of positive publicity, and there was quite a build up for the show to start off with. So yeah, lots of children did come and see it, which was very gratifying for me.
What were the reactions?
Well, they loved it. I didn't get any. I got some unusual reactions from some adults, but that's fair enough. It's horses for courses. No one, not everyone likes, or can relate to what's being said but the children, I didn't get anything negative from children. They all just loved it. And the children in the show gave me this beautiful book that had all their appreciation of what the show did for them, how the show gave them hope, and how they loved being in the show. So I'm very happy with that. As far as I'm concerned, it was a great success.
And now a moment for our sponsor. The Theatre Art Life podcast is proud to be sponsored by Harlequin. Harlequin is the world leader in floors, stage systems, and studio equipment for the performing arts. Established in the UK over 40 years ago, Harlequin is the preferred performance floor for the world's most prestigious dance and performing arts companies, theatres and schools, from the Royal Opera House to the Bolshoi Theatre, the New York City Ballet to the Royal New Zealand Ballet. Harlequin's experience and reputation are founded on the development, manufacture and supply of a range of high-quality sprung and vinyl floors specifically designed for dance and the performing arts. Backed by an engineering team and independent research, Harlequin also designs, builds and refurbishes stages, working with stage engineers and theatre consultants in leading venues across the world. Harlequin is the global leader in its field with offices in Europe, the Americas and Asia Pacific. Find out more at harlequinfloors.com, HARLEQUIN floors.com.
So during the pandemic, you've been doing a rewrite. So what did you want to get out of the rewrite? What's that process been like, and what's next for the script?
I've always felt the show was a bit too long, especially for children to come and see it. It went for just over 2 hours. And there were parts of it that I wasn't happy with. While the show was going, there was actually quite a bit of tweaking with the script. But I just thought, because I've done this all myself, I really wanted someone who was an expert in the field to help me and give me some feedback. So I joined Ken Davenport's theatre class, and I actually did a script writing course. I know it sounds like putting the cart before the horse, but I just thought, I just wanted to get as much information as I could and to make the musical as good as it could possibly be. So that was very enlightening. And then I also worked with Eric Webb, and I sent him the script, and he was absolutely fantastic. He sent me an 8.5-page constructive criticism about it, and I had an hour-and-a-half Zoom call with him. And he went through it with a fine-tooth comb. And so then I had to sit down I didn't agree with everything he said, but I agreed with a lot of what he said. And I could see that the actual script needed to be more cohesive. So I sat down through the whole COVID process and did a rewrite. And that meant tossing out a couple of scenes and rewriting. I had to write a song for the young heroine, because in the show she actually starts off as a young girl and then she becomes 16 and then 18. So I had to write a brand new song for the young heroine. I just would like to say a little bit about the people that came. I'm digressing, I know, but the whole cast has just been absolutely amazing from the original show, because they came in and apart from rehearsing the show for over 6 months, they actually came in and re-recorded the entire show. So writing a new song meant I had to find someone who could actually sing in that genre who had a lovely young voice, and I found a lovely young girl. And so that was re-recorded, and then I changed a couple of the other songs as well.
One girl, two worlds. The familiar
If I hear one more piece of nonsense from you, I'll ground you for a week.
And the fantastical.
I'm an alien, I'm an alien, I'm an alien too, yeah. I'm an alien, I'm an alien, I'm an alien too. Boom. We can perform, we can perform, we can perform magic tricks, magic tricks, magic tricks. Disappear at the disappear at the disappear at the count of six, count of six, count of six. Multi-dimensional, fully intentional, we are alien, we are alien. It's a party, like she's in a peculiar mood. Come on, girlfriend, birthday game, it's time to groove. Whoa. Doesn't wanna play, oh no.
Doesn't wanna say she's on a go slow.
Party pooper, where's our trooper?
Getting super, whoa, whoa.
We have journeyed far throughout time and space on the diamond of our dreaming and the gifting of our grace. Here
Working with the cast has clearly been very important to you, and I wonder how it's it to work with like working children and all the logistics and all the production.
Oh dear, this is going to be a podcast. This is going to go out in the world, isn't it? Well, just say the children were fantastic and it was very challenging at times. That's all I can say. But they were, look, like all children, you know, they really, really came good, and you know, they learned all their songs and they got right into the spirit of the show. But the 6 month rehearsal period is a long time, and we rehearse sometimes 2 or 3 times a week.
That is a lot for children's, right? For children to commit for that period of time and stay motivated. Yeah. And but you've educated many students in the arts, so you're used to working with youth, right? So I'm sure you have tips and tools of managing those groups of people.
I have, yes. I guess a tip is that when they're getting too rowdy, you just absolutely don't say a word and just stand there and look, and they gradually get the message, and then they're going around saying shh, 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 like that. So.
Let them come to their own realization.
Yeah. I must admit, I did lose it a couple of times, though. I didn't follow my own teaching at times.
Well, there's always a lot on the line, especially like you said, if you've written it and made it yourself. There's a lot at stake to make that something that you're. And so once now that you've done that rewrite, what's the aspiration? What do you want to do with the script, and now what's next?
I've started sending the script out to various theatres, various producers. My dream is to have it as a live show, showing in many, many theatres. And also I see it because of the mystical content and the fairies, the gnomes, the fairy kingdom that's portrayed in the musical. I think it would make a great animated movie.
Amazing. What do you think in terms of because the industry, when Anna and I have worked in many parts of the world, and I look back as an Australian as the Australian industry being very, very small and tough and competitive, and also a country that doesn't necessarily nurture and foster the arts like other countries that I've lived in, unfortunately, because we're very sport minded. There's lots of things in Australia that people spend money and time and investment in. What's your opinion of that? I mean, again, I've been out of the country for a long time. What are there opportunities there? Is it tough as I perceive it? Tell me about that.
I agree with you, Anna. It is tough. The performance industry is alive and well, very, very well. And of course, it's coming back even stronger because of COVID. And there is a huge push now to use Australian content, to use people who are not necessarily about Australia, but who actually are Australian, who are writing content. I have tried to get my music on ABC radio. And I love the ABC. They're just, in fact, celebrating their 90th anniversary. The only thing is, and I have written to them, that they've got every genre of music except music theatre. They've got programs for every single genre of music except music theatre. So that has been a frustration for me. My music actually has been played on ABC radio here locally, but it was a long time ago. And I'm very well known here, but I'm not well known in Sydney or Melbourne. So that is another challenge that I have to face.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to have done the work, but in the industry and just generally, no matter, you have to be an advocate for yourself, and you have to get out there and you have to grind to get in front of people's faces, right? No matter what role or job you're doing, and that's half the job.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And I've only just recently retired, actually, from teaching from my studio. I retired at the end of last year. And that's why I'm really focusing now on getting the musical out there. And I've really loved the process. And I have gotten a little bit of feedback already. So that's positive feedback. So that's keeping me going at the moment. And thank you to both for agreeing to talk to me as well. It's huge. It's huge. I mean, I've spent years doing it, and it's been totally self-funded. My beautiful husband thought we were going to retire and get in our little van and just go around Australia. And then I decided to write a musical. He had to completely rethink his retirement, and bless his heart, he actually went back to work to help fund this.
That's amazing. Well, it's always Anna and I's focus to find these pockets and corners of the world of people doing arts and dig into their work and life. And you're definitely one of those people that we've discovered. So it's fantastic. I do want to ask you, having educated many students in the arts and obviously sending a lot of people to WAPA and NIDA, and for those who are not Australian, these are the major arts institutions in Australia to train to be in the entertainment industry. What do you see as the key steps, having been an educator for so many years, for success in the industry? It might be very Australian focused, but what do you see that the kids need to do or be to get a career, especially in such a small market and competitive arena?
As they say, thousands are called, but few are chosen. And even those of my students who've made it to those esteemed education centres have had a struggle to be recognised and to get work in the industry. But I think the big thing that I've noticed with all of these people is that they had that fire in their belly, and they were prepared to do anything, to do drama exams, singing exams, go in competitions all over the place, and study, work really, really hard. And that's how they made it to where they made it. There's one of my students who's actually now one of my ex-students who's now actually in San Francisco, who's doing very well, and she wants to be an opera singer. And her mum keeps sending me recordings of where she's at, and the development in her voice is just amazing. And I'm really, really hoping that she's going to make it big time. But she has worked relentlessly and done everything that's required.
That must be very, very nice to see. Why do you think it's, or what does it take within the Australian context to be recognized? Is it just a matter of networking, or is it a matter of work, or is it a matter of, I don't know?
I can't really answer that except to say that I just think you need perseverance. And I think, it's often entered my head, and I probably will end up doing it because I really only just started promoting it now, is to just go and actually turn up physically, knock on doors and say, look, I have this is what it's about. I've got everything, I've got all the orchestral backings, I've got the guide vocals for all the songs. I'm just working on getting the new libretto together. So it's just really, that's what I think I'm going to have to do.
Get out there.
And even go to the ABC and studio and say, hi, here I am, these are my songs and I'd really like you to listen to them and consider them to play on one of your radio shows.
Have you thought about trying to promote that sort of internationally as well? I mean, maybe it's a big jump across a pond, but if there's not reception in Australia, there's the rest of the world, right?
Yeah, I've started that already, and I actually have had a response, and that's all I'm saying at the moment. But I'm very excited.
We always sort of finish up our podcast by asking, what's your favourite thing about your job? And now that your job is working on this script and promoting it, what's the most favourite thing about putting yourself out there with this musical?
I think the big thing is just having faith and really loving your product. I love what I've done. And one of the great joys for me going through the process has been when I've sat in at Turnaround Music, which is the studio where I've been, that's been doing the instrumentation for my music, and hearing the finished product, through Peter's massive speakers, and just sitting there being surrounded by the music that I've written. And I've often bawled my eyes out, which I'm going to do now.
Amazing.
So if there was something about the way the industry works or about your job that you could change, what would you change?
I would actually change the fact that I thought I knew everything at the beginning, because I've been steeped in music and theatre. And so I thought I knew how to do it all. And I would have asked for help much earlier from experts much, much earlier. That's what I would change.
I think it's interesting because, theatre by its nature is a collaboration of people, right? And that's what makes it beautiful. And when you put yourself out there, something that you wrote, you're exposing yourself, right? And so that's why it's that wonderful juxtaposition between holding on to what you've created and letting people come in to lift it up, And I think it always generally gets better when you're bringing other people into it, like you said. Yeah.
So you're going to let us know when someone can go watch it and which venues it's playing, when it's playing live on the ABC?
I certainly will. Definitely. Yes.
Yes, absolutely. If it comes around and you've got an opportunity where it's going to be on, we'd love to go write an article about it for Theatre Art Live. So let us know how it's going.
I will. Thank you so much. Yes.
Ariana, thank you for having a podcast with us today. We really enjoyed meeting you, and we wish you all the best in your putting Crystal Dreaming out to the world, and look forward to seeing it on the stage.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Theatre Art Live is a global media site for entertainment. Memberships start at only $38 per year. You can have unlimited access to our daily published articles, including entertainment news and the writings of active industry professionals, ensuring that you are always up to date on the global happenings in the world of entertainment. Become a part of the international entertainment community and join us now at www.theatreartlive.com.